Hello and welcome to a new week of meals. I'm starting off with our small groups at our friend's house. So we had our little church group on Monday night and they made a chicken tikka in the crock pot. It was delicious. If I remember to grab the recipe from them, I will go ahead and link it down below, but maybe do just a quick old Google search and see what you can find. But it was really, really good. They added some large carrots and it was nice and hearty and filling and just so comforting. And then we ended with a sweet treat. Still celebrating my birthday, apparently. This was a very nice surprise. So that was our meal for Monday. On Tuesday, I decided to make spaghetti and meatballs, so I grabbed a pack of ground beef and ground pork from the freezer. I'm going to let that finish sort of defrosting a bit, and in the meantime, I'm going to mix up some breadcrumbs. I'm taking what panko breadcrumbs I have left in my pantry. Actually, it's not really a pantry, it's a little basket in the kitchen, and I'm adding some heavy cream and water in lieu of milk. Now, I don't usually buy milk, so I don't have any on hand, so I just diluted the heavy cream with a bit of water. Mixing that up and then just letting it absorb, and then that's going to be added to the meat. As per usual, if I do have a recipe to link to, it will be down below in the description box. So these are the ingredients you're going to need for the meatballs, and it was very easy, super tasty, and I'm just going to put these all together for you right now. I'm just taking the meat here and mixing them together. I broke up the ground pork just a little bit because it was a tiny bit frozen still in the middle, so I just kind of tried to work it into the rest of the ingredients. Adding the panko breadcrumbs and all of the other seasonings to this mix, and I'm going to gently mix it all together. Now, I read somewhere that you shouldn't overwork the meat and you need to use this claw technique so that you don't overwork the meat. But since I did have the pork that was a little bit frozen still on the inside, I worked it just a little bit more than I normally would have liked to do. But here we go, just adding some seasonings. Again, recipe will be linked down below, but there's some Italian seasoning, some sweetener. I believe the recipe called for brown sugar, but I'm adding some monk fruit with erythritol, some Worcestershire. Anything I missed, again, will be linked down below. I had a block of Parmesan cheese that was just sitting in the refrigerator, so decided to grate that up and use it for this instead of using like the shaker cheese, the dried stuff. But it worked out just fine. It tasted really good. And I'm just mixing this all up now, just very carefully. Again, still trying to break up a little bit of that pork so that it could be mixed with the ground beef. At this point, I looked up and realized I completely forgot the garlic, so I went ahead and added a huge heaping spoonful of that to the mix. I remix everything very gently as possible, and that's pretty much ready to form into meatballs. Just going to use my sniffer to make sure I have everything seasoned properly. I asked that one time before to see if anyone else does that, and surprisingly, I am not the only one. So now I'm taking some parchment paper to my rimmed baking sheet. I went ahead and used parchment because I didn't have foil and I didn't want the meatballs to really stick, and I wanted just to be an easier cleaning up process, so I went ahead and used parchment. Now I'm taking my little cookie scoop here and I'm just making about 2-inch size balls. I'm making these larger than what the recipe said. I only got about 28 or something like that meatballs. I believe the recipe said it makes about 40, so clearly I made larger meatballs, but it worked out just fine. They were cooked in the middle and they were actually quite a good size for what I like. into the oven for the prescribed time, and when they are done, this is what they look like. And there you go, that is the finished meal. I served mine with roasted zucchini, but the guys did have spaghetti, so thus spaghetti and meatballs. But the meatballs were very tasty, super tender, and just really, really good. Made excellent leftovers as well. Next up, I am using some leftover Easter ham to make a pea soup. Pea soup with ham, perfect for the gray, gloomy day that it was. Nice and hearty, super comforting. So I'm just chopping up, I would say probably about 2 to 3 cups of ham. It was probably closer to 3 cups. Just nice big chunks. I'm going to add some carrots and dice those up. I'm going to dice them up actually fairly small. To my large pot, I'm going to go ahead and add some extra virgin olive oil, as well as a huge heaping dollop of butter. To the butter and oil goes the ham. So you can see it is quite a bit of ham. That might even be almost 4 cups. I don't know. I think it's closer to 3. And then the peas that I have rinsed. I'm going to add the water now per the recipe, as well as the seasonings that it calls for. So we've got some onion powder and some chicken bouillon. Again, I'm using chicken bouillon. It's supposed to be chicken stock or chicken broth. We've got some thyme and I believe some pepper, perhaps. And then we also have some bay leaves. I'm going to mix that up now, stir it. I'm going to let that come to a boil. And then once it's come up to a bit of a boil, I'm going to cover it and then let that cook for the time that is indicated in the recipe. With 40 minutes left in the cooking time, I went ahead and added the carrots. I also completely forgot the garlic yet again. I think it's just a theme this particular week, but I forgot the garlic. I added that actually once the carrots were already done. Just added it to the soup to cook in the residual heat. And there you go. You can see the little specks of white garlic, minced garlic. It was so good, so hearty, just really, really filling. And I ate that the next day as well, even better for leftovers. And that was the next meal of the week. We are doing sloppy joes for the last meal that I'm sharing with you. Here are the ingredients. Recipe again will be down below. Very, very easy, super fast, and really inexpensive. And I would like you to meet Bambino. This is our new little pup. He joined us over the weekend, and we just love him so much. If you want to follow him along, please join us on my vlogging channel. You can see I'm going to post our gotcha day very, very shortly. So come and meet the new member of our family. Back to the recipe. We have the sauce that I'm making now for the sloppy joes: ketchup, mustard, Worcestershire sauce. We have the onion powder. That's pretty much it. So I'm going to add a little bit of apple cider vinegar per the recipe, but to be honest, I really don't think it needed it. It made it just a little too tangy for my taste. You can see I'm just adding more of the same ingredients because I feel like it needed a little bit more. A little bit later on, you'll also see that I add some water just to loosen it, to make it a little saucier. The ground beef that I used is actually 90/10. It was super lean, so I added some water just to make it a little bit more, well, sloppy. To be honest, who wants a dry sloppy joe? This thing has got to be saucy. So I went ahead and added that. I also added some monk fruit with erythritol, which is my sweetener of choice, but you can add sugar, brown sugar, or, if you don't want it sweet, then don't add any at all. I'm also going to add a bit of pepper. I thought it needed a bit of that. And then after a little taste test, I felt like it needed more of an onion flavor to it, but I had used up all of my onion powder for this recipe already. So there's the fresh stuff. So I went ahead and diced up a fresh onion, added it, cooked it up, let it just kind of soften, and that's pretty much the Sloppy Joe meat mixture. Gonna serve it in between some hamburger buns and a side salad, which you'll see in just a second. And there you go. Melted some cheddar cheese on that, toasted buns with some butter inside, a Aldi salad kit. That's the sweet kale one. So tasty. Hope you guys enjoyed the meals this week. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If you liked the video, please give it a like so other people can find it. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care until then.